A Gump report for ya. I've seen Raw. I've seen. Ugh. Making my scalp itch. Let's. This is not a review of Raw. This is about Asuka. But let me say this 100% before I even get started. Is Raw interesting? No. This is what I was worried about. Look what they're doing with Ubafemi. Open challenges where he has to drag out Alberto Carrillo and Angel Garza because supposedly they can't book him and they're doing the Ryback treatment. If you don't remember Ryback, they did the same thing. And then Jacob Fatu. How many weeks has it been now? How many weeks have we seen the same thing? Of Roman getting his ass kicked and Jacob looking good, but then when Jacob had the chance to get over, he couldn't get it done. Now, mind you, Clash in... could he win and Clash in Italy? Yes. Do I believe he'll win? No. This is not about winning. This is about This is prolonging this storyline as long as they can for as much juice they can squeeze out of it that the people will love it. It's the truth. This is what I was saying many months and over a year ago. Almost 2 years I spoke about it. That we have no storylines except the bloodline, and look what's going on with Judgment Day. Do you actually care about Judgment Day at this moment? Do you care? It's not about the men running Judgment Day. The women. Their storyline sucks. I don't see anything nice for Liv Morgan. I just don't. And that's sad because she busted her ass to become champion. And people actually care about her. Whether they hate her or like her, she has relevance. And that leads me to Asuka. We know what was going on with Asuka. We know what happened with Kairi. Let's make it clear. Did they fire Kairi because executives wanted her gone? No. She was released in bulk with everybody else. And there's still more coming. But here's the thing. We never got a payoff to Kairi. It angers me. See, now, Io never got the payoff of either turning Kairi to her side and getting away from Asuka. That never happened. And then they had to try, and I know some people trying to justify, and one of you guys, you left a comment talking about the storyline between Asuka and Io. I'm about to say Kairi. Well, technically, Io, Kairi, and Asuka, that storyline where Io and Asuka had their differences. They broke apart, the fighting and everything. I understand it. You're going to bring it up because that's all we got. 2025. That is what the story should have been about. They didn't go there that long. They got rid of it and turned it to Kairi being the issue, then about Asuka and Io. Remember, they changed it. They changed it halfway through that story cycle of 2025 nearing 2026 to Kairi being bullied by Asuka, and Io couldn't stand it anymore after she had already broken away and tried to convince Kairi this is wrong. And we never got a payoff. Going in 2025 into 2026, remember, the Asuka and Kairi story was in 2025. They turned away from Io and Asuka after they did some interaction. That's what was the truth. And now, before WrestleMania, we get no payoff. Nothing. And when WrestleMania is done, what happened? Kairi gets released. And then they tried to put back the old storyline of Io and Asuka to compensate for it. And again, it was empty. I said this in my comments. I still mean it. You can say whatever you want about 2025, how the story was looking good. What happened? They went away from it and turned it to Kairi being bullied by Asuka. Io had left because she couldn't stand it anymore because they weren't acting like family. What happened? This is not meant to be insulting to you. This is not meant to tell you you're stupid or wrong. No, this is what happened. And we got no payoff. But now look what just happened. We just got on Monday Night Raw. I believe I may have an image of the hug. I might. I don't know if I'm going to add it in here. I might. If I do, it's in my face now. I don't know if I'm going to do it. But currently, the story now is Asuka's handing the reins over to Io, and Asuka walks away. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, but from what we understand now, I do believe it was Sean Rossap that might have gotten some information about this. But right now, as far as anyone is concerned, it was not about the pay cut. Now, it doesn't mean there wasn't... I want to make this clear. It doesn't mean that she wasn't going to be told you got to take a 50% cut. Okay? But this has been that there's personal reasons for Asuka, and she had to go away for a hiatus. She's gone away. Now, what could that be? Multitude of things. They didn't say it was about her health, but it could be. That's one. Two, relationship with somebody. Maybe she has a relationship with a man or a woman, whether it's her family friend or family or her husband. Well, we don't know if I don't think she's married. She's never indicated she's ever been married. Because as far as I know, Asuka's unmarried. But it doesn't mean she has a relationship with someone. It could be a man. It could be a woman. We don't know. That could be another issue. Also, her businesses. I do know that Asuka does run a hair salon in Japan. I do believe she has either a hair salon or a nail salon, or both. She has one or two businesses in Japan, and you never know that one of those businesses is having issues, and she may need to take time off from WWE to go and take care of her businesses because it might be failing. You never know. It could actually be that. But whatever the situation is, she's gone for now. She's not there, and it's all about Io. When you saw Io, she was going up against Soruka. So, how do I feel about this situation? Here's the thing. I love Asuka, but I felt they treated Asuka badly for the last 12 years. I'm being honest here. Anybody else would say Asuka's done great? No. She did great in NXT for almost 2 years. Literally 2 years, she was undefeated. She moves to the main roster, and instead of the situation with Asuka actually winning at WrestleMania, they made it about Charlotte. I'm sorry. Charlotte already been on the NXT roster for a bit, and she'd already did a WrestleMania already. They could have put over Asuka, but they used Asuka to put more over on Charlotte, which wasn't necessary. Charlotte was already over. Whether I think Charlotte was one of the best wrestlers, and I can tell you, I don't. I've stated this for years. I don't say it often, but I stated it for many years. Charlotte Flair is an okay wrestler, but is she one of the best wrestlers that's ever been like her father? Not even close. And I say this right now. Charlotte cannot get other people over. She can only get herself over during the match. That's the only thing she can do. The only time a person gets over is that they're a much better wrestler than she is. Bayley is better than her. Becky was better than her. And Sasha Banks was better than her, along with Asuka. That is the reason why these women became famous. Not because Charlotte Flair made them famous. No. It was because they were better than Charlotte, and they could get themselves over. Charlotte's only job was to get herself over, and that's what she did the majority of the time. She could never get anyone over. Tiffany Stratton was a prime example of that. She could not get Tiffany over. She can't. Naomi, she could not get Naomi over. And remember, she actually had multiple matches with Naomi, but by the time she actually started having multiple matches, Naomi had already gotten herself over. She can't get anyone over. And that's not meant to be a knock against Ashley. I want to make this clear. I don't hate Ashley Flair or Charlotte. This is not the thing about her. She's just not as great as her father. There is very few people who can do what Ric Flair could do. There was always a saying, and I agree with it. If you had to get a broomstick over, give him to Ric Flair or give it to Ric Flair, he will get it over because he knows how to make people look great. while still making himself look good, which makes him great, because a true great pro wrestler can make the other person the emphasis. And while doing that, as long as they can make it look good for them to get offense, defense, and a story that has been written, they become great. The only few people I know that can do that is Ric Flair, Undertaker. Let's make this very clear. Kurt Angle could do it. He wasn't as, this is Ric Flair, this is Undertaker. He was like here. And you could say other people like Edge. You can either say Batista to a certain extent. John, it's debatable with John, but not that he couldn't get people over. But a lot of times he was booked so heavily to be the emphasis, he couldn't always get someone over. Not because he didn't want to, but because he couldn't. Charlotte just doesn't have that. But Asuka did. Let's make this very clear. For the 12 years Asuka was in the WWE, counting NXT and the main roster, she got people over. You can never say that Asuka had a bad match. I've never heard anyone. Not Solomonster, not JD, not Jesse, not Alex, not Grim, not the Sleg Daddy. I've never heard anyone say that Asuka's ever literally had a bad match. And usually the storyline she were in sucked, but she worked the best with what she had, like a John Cena. Not as great as John because he made bullshit into gold. But she wasn't bad. And now she's not there due to situation. Whatever it is. Either health situation, personal situation, maybe with her family, with some friends, with maybe in a significant other, where it's a man or a woman. We don't know what she is. I've never checked to see if she's lesbian or not. She could be, or she's just regular straight. Or it could be about her businesses. I do know that she has a hair salon business. I think she has another business that could also be a nail salon, I believe. I can't remember exactly. But she has businesses in Japan. She has them, and that might be the reason she went. Or it could be a mental health thing. You never know. But here's where the big question's coming in. If she comes back, because Kyrie is gone, she's not coming back. So many people wanted to come back and show up when the hug happened. It's never going to happen. Like I said, when Kyrie left and when they got rid of 24, at the time, 25 people, along with Kyrie, it would be beyond stupid for WWE to bring her back after what they did with R-Truth. They understand. They fucked up releasing R-Truth. And they should have never released him. They should have actually checked to see how important he was. They didn't give a damn. They cared about this. And I'm going to say this openly. This is not about if I hate R-Truth. His ass should have never been brought back, even though it's the wisest thing to do. But now, they made a precedent. If the fans cause enough trouble, the WWE, if they knuckle under again, will do the same thing again. And that will cause a precedent that they'll want everyone to come back, and they'll cause nothing but chaos on the show like they did with CM Punk. And worse, because they got what they wanted. They will bring back who they wanted, and they will be so loud and obnoxious, it will 100% disrupt either the PLEs or the regular shows of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. They can't do that again. That's why Kyrie never came back and will never come back unless they decide in the next couple of years, counting if Kyrie ever wants to. Now, I've seen JD's thought about this, and if, like he said, if Kyrie was approached to come back and she said no, good for her. Agreed, good for her, because we already know they are doing a 50% pay cut to the ones they care about. The big people, unless they're going to do that to them as well, namely New Day, was going to take a 50% pay cut. And they're one of the most beloved people there. They said no, bye-bye. If this is across the board for everyone to take a 50% pay cut, and Asuka was told before she left, we understand you're going to leave, but when you come back, you need to take a 50% pay cut. If I were Asuka, I would say no. Now, of course, Far as we know, this is about personal issues, which we don't know what they are. But if she was told they have to have the discussion, and she probably already knows by now that making people take half their pay cut. If they're making $500,000, they're going down to $250,000. If anyone's getting $250,000, they're getting $125,000. If they're getting $1 million, they're getting cut $1 million. And understand, even though I've heard JD say that TKO is in debt, no, they're not. No, they're not. Because again, I'm going to leave the connection below. This is not about TKO having debt. This is about Silver Lake. Look below. If you're watching this video, go to the connection of the acquisition of Endeavor to Silver Lake. Because remember, Endeavor Group Holdings owns TKO, UFC, WWE. And now TKO, which is owned by Endeavor, is now also owned by Silver Lake Global. Silver Lake Global is the one they report to. No one talks about that. I've heard JD mention it once, that they're connected to them, but never says anything else. I'm telling you now. Of course, I'm not a guy in business. I could be wrong, but I don't believe I am because of look at what is going on. Now I'm doing Jar Jar Binks. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. Look at what you hear. Now I'm talking about Jar Jar Binks. Look what's happening now. Only thing that matters to WWE is getting this. They want to squeeze as much out of doing the most lowest amount of effort to get the biggest amount of payoff. Now, of course, you can say TKO would do that. Yes, but TKO is not the one they report to. They may be in debt, but it's not about them being in debt. They have to report to the ones above them, and then to the ones above them. That means Silver Lake is ordering Ari. If Ari isn't making the orders already, Silver Lake is saying, what's going on with TKO? Why are they losing money? Well, we just purchased WWE. Squeeze more money out of WWE. If Ari hasn't said it, the shareholders of Silver Lake Global will go to Ari and say, Ari, Endeavor's doing wonderful. We're happy about it. We understand UFC's increases its profit by 10%. Oh, WWE's increased by 15% or 20% of its profits. Great. But what's going on with TKO? Why is the profits dropping by 10 or 20%? Well, due to the fact of the acquisition a couple of years ago, we're kind of low on money. Squeeze more money out of and from UFC. Squeeze more money out of what? WWE. If they're getting 15%, give the money to TKO. That's it. If Ari didn't already start doing it, I bet your sweet dollar, baby, that the shareholders of Silver Lake are looking across all four companies. If even one is low, they're going to demand that the ones that are making more money must pick up the slack and make it about more money for TKO so its stocks will go up, so Endeavor stocks will go up, and then Silver Lake stocks will go up. And I know someone said that Silver Lake only holds on to a company for 2 or 3 years, and then they dump them to somebody else. Well, guess what? If that happens, let's say that Silver Lake Global does dump WWE, UFC, TKO, and Endeavor to another corporation, it's going to get worse. Understand, the first one who gets it is going to squeeze as much as they can out of it. And when they see they can't get any more, they'll sell it for under a market value to someone else. And guess what? They're going to squeeze it even harder. Believe this, that UFC, I haven't watched UFC in quite a while. But as far as I know, they're not exactly doing very well either. I mean, they got some, if I remember correctly, about a year or two ago. If I remember, their stock had dipped a little bit and then went back up, but not to the same level. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But right now they're generally steady, but I don't think they're at the same level they were about 2 years ago. And I'm telling you this. If Silver Lake sells, and that's if they sell it, Endeavor, which owns everything else, the next corporation that takes over is going to squeeze even harder than Silver Lake has done right now. Remember, in the last year, because Silver Lake took over March 2025, have you noticed how much things have become even more expensive just to even sit in an arena, let alone just going to a PLE? The arena seats are beginning to become highly expensive. Why? Because that had to be an order from the shareholders of Silver Lake, telling Endeavor, squeeze more. Squeeze more. We want more money. Either you're having a problem with TKO, or we just purchased you. We need to make back our money through the stocks. We need to know that the stocks across UFC, WWE, TKO are high, because when that happens, we get money. Get it up. More money. This is what you get. So, what does this mean for Asuka? Because we're going back to Asuka. Like I said, if Asuka's taking a break because of some type of personal reason, if it's not mental, because we didn't hear anything physical, she doesn't seem to be injured, she's either taken away for a mental problem, or maybe she's trying to save her companies, because I know she has one or two she has one or two businesses in Japan. Maybe she wants to take care of them right now because it's an issue. Or it could be family problems, or maybe a spousal problem, man or woman, we don't know. But she's taking away for a while. If she comes back, there is a very strong possibility they will make her do a pay cut. And if she hasn't said not doing it, then we will not see Asuka again until she decides to be willing to take a pay cut at one point or another. Or we may see her go to AEW. Or, and this is the very rare possibility, TNA. Now, mind you, understand, if, like I said with New Day, they could go to TNA. If Asuka's having an issue when it comes to her enthusiasm for pro wrestling, TNA may be the best place to go because the environment there is much different. Of course, she's not going to make the same money, even close to WWE. They don't even have the budget for that, for an Asuka. But if she's willing to take less money, she could reinvigorate her passion for wrestling, like I believe New Day could reinvigorate their passion for wrestling. Now, of course, she can go to AEW. She can be there with Hikaru Shida, Ryo, Emery Sakura, and any other female Japanese wrestler that's there, because they are going there. They go to New Japan and back, most of them, because that's the deal they have currently in AEW. She could do that. But I believe if she goes to AEW, it'll just be straight matches. Yes, it'll be what she's used to in Japan, but I don't know if that'll reinvigorate her interest in pro wrestling, if that's an issue. If it's a mental issue of the strain of wrestling, and she feels unvalued, uncared. Because let's make it clear, Kairi, Io, and Asuka are legitimately real-life friends. And they just destroyed the storyline that they were working with. And it's only because of money. It doesn't make a difference how you feel about Japanese wrestlers, or Japanese for that matter. If you think they're not as emotional as Americans or Europeans, they have their own feelings. They do. They're more restrained in how they express their feelings because of the culture. But Asuka at 44, she's been wrestling for 12, well, more than that. But from WWE, I'm sure there have been points where she's felt down because of how bad the booking has been over the years with Vince, and now with TKO, and now with Silver Lake in charge, because it's not just TKO and Endeavor, it's Silver Lake now too. The shareholders are going to want money. They're going to want their stocks up. It might have beaten her down to the point where she needs a break. And if she needs to not return, the best place to really start over, she's gotten used to the American style of wrestling, would be TNA. Now, it doesn't mean she has to connect Again, with WWE, she doesn't. She doesn't have to. Of course, they'll maybe make some inroads like Joe Henry. Now, I'm sure Joe Henry is not getting as big a... I mean, he's getting more money than he would from TNA. That's why he went. But it won't be the same level she was. 50% pay cut or more would happen. But this is not about her getting money. It's about getting the passion back. And after she gets her passion back, after staying for a year or two, she can go to AEW. I know Tony is still making tons of money still. Even if AEW is not making huge amounts of money, it is making money. And he can pay anything he wants. And we already hear that Kairi is already being considered to go to AEW. I'd rather see her go to TNA because I think it'll be better for her to go there at first because I'm sure she might be hurt. And she needs to know that she can go to a company that's going to care about her. Give her love and affection. And I think TNA is one of those companies that really understands that and helps people to heal, like what happened with, look at Nick Nimitz. He didn't think he could do it anymore. And yes, he's gone to different companies, but I think TNA is not just where he landed, where he wants to stay permanently, but they've really given him such care and how they see him. Trinity Fatu, that she was heartbroken because of how badly they treated her. She got reinvigorated in TNA, and when she went back, she went from almost nothing in the storyline to becoming one of the most important women there until she got pregnant. And now, Kairi could. That's a possibility with Kairi, or Asuka for that matter. I really would like to see Kairi or Asuka just go in TNA for a stint, like a year or two, and then go to AEW. But that's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. I should be doing my AEW review later tonight. Of course, you're going to know it's going to be late at night. Hopefully you want to watch it. Peace.